Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Rich. It's me Vinod. I hope you're doing well. These are some trying times, I'm sure, for us Indians. With all the news which is there, we're not able to discern what is true, what is fake. There seems to be a lot of fake news which is going around in social media as far as this conflict is concerned. So please do stay calm, do verify and check anything which you hear. Don't react, have knee-jerk reaction would be my advice. There was a lot of speculation that the market might see a severe correction today. It did not happen, as I was saying in the Instagram group. Maybe particular stocks may see some severe correction, but overall the market is down by a percentage point. And if you see how the FIIs and the DIs have been reacting to all this news, there's still a wait and watch approach, which is what is happening, which is what I would advise you to. With the FII data, which you can see, they've been steadily buying into the Indian market since the beginning of the month. Even through this conflict which has broken out, they're still buying. So I would say be a little sensitive to the news which you hear, but at the same time don't overreact. Always verify what you're seeing. That would be my advice as far as your investments are concerned. So what's happening in the world other than what's happening in India is what I wanted to talk about today. Yes, the Chinese economy is not doing well. The shipments were down 21% in April. But there's an overall surge in exports is what they're saying. That means 21% drop to exports to the US in April. But overall, if you took the exports of China, it is surged by a positive number and it's not a negative number, which is not being shared in the article, so I could not discern that. But what it's saying is this is mainly due to one, the US dollar, so that has helped, and the weakening of the Chinese yuan, and also something known as transshipment surge which has been happening. So before all these tariffs came into place, like how iPhones were put on aircrafts and sent to US in a rush to get inside before tariffs came to effect, same way the Chinese companies, exporters, sent shipment out of China to various other countries so they can reach American shores through other countries, not directly through China. So this is known as transshipment. This also happened. Meanwhile, the Chinese government has been telling the exporters to focus more on diverting their exports into domestic market and ask home market to start participating in the economy and buying, which people fear are going to create more deflationary pressure on the Chinese economy. So this is something to wait and watch. As I was recording this video, the Nikkei is up 1.5%. The Shanghai and the Hong Kong index are pretty much flat. The other major news which came out was, of course, the UK deal. Trump had announced while he had the Canadian Prime Minister sitting next to him that there was a major deal which is going to be coming out and it's happening anytime. And even the Canadian Prime Minister seemed to have done a double take because he was thinking, what is this guy talking about? Well, a lot of our Indian media thought it was a US-American trade deal which was going to come out, but it wasn't. It was a UK-US trade deal which has come out. What has come out from this trade deal is it's come to a pretty much understanding. The UK could not convince the Americans to push tariffs back to zero. Now the new baseline for the world, the best case scenario for any country negotiating with the US is going to be 10% tariff, because that is where UK and the US have finally landed. UK and US, through their so-called special relationship and all negotiations, it seems to be they can best arrive at a number of 10%. The Americans are rather happy about it. The British Prime Minister came out saying the main reason he has done this is not for mainly economic reasons, but for the reasons he wants Americans to support Ukraine and the Ukrainian efforts against Russians in Europe, and he doesn't want to lose Americans as a partner. So that is the main reason he's willing to give a lot more concessions. Well, I leave that up to you. But the markets did rally. But the markets did not rally based on the news of the UK trade deal. They are rallying more on the fact that more trade deals are going to come is what they're hoping for. During this pause in tariffs which Trump had announced, he did say a lot more trade deals will get done. In one instance, in one press brief, he even claimed to have been done 200 deals. So out of that anyway, the first one seems to be inked and this is done. So the markets are reacting to this. So what does this mean for companies in the UK? Well, one Indian company should be happy about, and you investors can continue looking at it, is of course Tata Motors. Tata Motors, Jaguar Land Rover is based in the UK. It's a British based company. and they have been allowed now to lower their tariffs from 27% all the way to 10%. Around 1 lakh cars are being imported, or 100,000 cars are being imported into US, Jaguar Land Rover, so those get an immediate relief. Aston Martin, Rolls-Royce, they get an immediate relief. British steel and British aluminum producers also get an relief from this deal, because this deal, mainly things on this list are not pharmaceuticals and IT and other related services. What's mainly on this list where tariffs are concerned are cars, steel, aluminum, and beef and ethanol. As British are allowed to export more cars and steel and aluminum to US, the flip of it is the British have agreed to buying 13,000 tons of US beef and 1.4 billion liters of ethanol from the US. So US is getting cars, steel and aluminum, while the British are getting the British American beef and 1.4 billion liters of ethanol. So what are the companies which are going to benefit from this? Of course, one of the main American companies which will benefit from this, which is not at value right now, is Boeing. Boeing has a deal with British Airways, which now will pretty much go through. So Boeing will get a lot of benefit from this. Another company would be Deere and Company. Both of these are not, I would say, at value right now to consider. But there are companies which are tied to these two big companies, which have a lot of value. One of them would be Spirit AeroSystems. I would say that is a company which supplies aeronautical equipment to Boeing to manufacture their planes, and that company is at value. There's another one called Raytheon, which is another company which supplies equipment to Boeing, which is at value. There's another one called Hexcel Corp, which is also, I would say, something you can look at. So these three companies in the US is something worthwhile investigating. And thanks to Deere Company also getting a boost thanks to this deal, companies like Jabil and even TVS Supply Chain, which is an Indian-based company, but is a supplier of Deere and Company in terms of logistics, supply logistics. They are being recognized by Deere and Company as an important logistical partner for them in the US. So these are the ways I would say you can approach this news. So as more and more of these trade deals are done and inked, you will see more and more opportunities for companies improving, getting reductions in tariffs, opening special windows so they get an advantage over their global peers. And you will see stock opportunities also there, where you can see them being overvalued and suddenly from being in an overvalued position, dropping down to an undervalued position simply because of earnings potentials going forward improves. So keep this in mind as you read these trade details, trade news and deals being done. Try and look at the companies, the sectors which are in the trade deal, I would say, then see the companies which are the major players in that sector. Then if those companies are already overvalued or not looking great, then look at the companies which are tied to these companies, which are supplying to these companies. Those can also be lying at, at value which is reasonable to say. This is the way I would suggest that you look at this going forward. Thanks for watching. Be rich. I hope you found this video informative and you had a wonderful day and wonderful evening. See you again tomorrow with some more investment ideas and investment opportunities. Thank you for watching Be Rich today. Good night.